Hi everyone, this is Agamemnon from SC2 Mistakes, where you get to learn from our mistakes. So today we have a user-submitted series of videos. It's from Ziggy, and Ziggy's a good sport. He sent us 3 replays that we're going to actually take a look at. And in his own words, the first replay is actually a cannon rush that he kind of panicked and didn't know what to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this first try at defending a cannon rush, and we're going to identify some of the mistakes that he made and see in his subsequent 2 games if he's able to correct those mistakes and perhaps even win. So first of all, I'd like to take note, he's a Protoss player playing against another Protoss player, which you have to do in order to get cannon rushed. And the player in the top right is Malachi, which I could be wrong, but I think that there's a unit in Starcraft that actually says Malachi. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can let me know. So first thing I kind of wanted to note with regards to his pylon placement by his by his Nexus, and also this subsequent building of the gateway here. I like this kind of type building placement because it's aesthetically pleasing. But I want you to picture if at his natural choke, which is right here, what if he put that pylon, you don't have to wall off, but even if the pylon had an area like this, just to give you vision, what that would do is, let's watch this probe come in. Okay, so this is Malachi's probe. He's coming through here, so far, he's seen, right? Ziggy gets to see this offending probe sticking his little neck in here. Alright? Now I'm going to show you something when I hit 2. You see nothing, right? Okay. Let's hit the everybody cam. Oh, there he is. 2. And he's gone. Okay, so what happened? Well, he backtracked out here, but because there are no buildings at this natural choke, Ziggy has no vision. He had no idea that this guy did that little sneaky move where he doubled back and went back into his base. So first of all, I'd like to see some kind of building simply to give vision of your natural choke, because if your opponent is going to try and sneak something into your base, he has to come through this area. He has to. So just by watching your minimap, you get a chance to see what the guy's doing. So let's look at the Ziggy cam again. Still doesn't know he's there. Still doesn't know. Okay. What else? We're going to pause here for 1 second right here. Okay. So I have in my notes that at 4:09, the cannons actually show up on the minimap. So I'm going to show you this. There you go. So this is Ziggy's view. So if he's looking at the minimap, he's on a regular basis, he's going to see these 2 have popped up and that they're in his base. But I want to go to his actual player camera. We're going to rewind it just a couple seconds. I want you to see how long it takes for him to notice by moving his camera that it's there. Let's hit play. Okay, so we're at 3:45. So at 4:09, we're going to see those 2 little red blips pop up on the minimap. And that should be a signal to immediately take a look there and see what's going on. So let's see what happens. 5, 6, 7, oh, 4:07. There it is. Now let's watch when Ziggy notices. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to pause here for a second. So Ziggy noticed at about 4:20. Now, I know that the 10 seconds is probably not going to make a difference simply because of how much is already being built here, but just kind of helps us to see the importance of always watching your minimap. If you're looking at your minimap constantly, then you're going to see those red things pop up and you can jump right away. So let's make sure we keep our eyes on the minimap as well. All right. And unfortunately, like Ziggy said, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to beat this, but he learns. So let's watch and see. And while we're watching this, I think we can all just say a mental thank you to Ziggy. He's a good sport. We don't mean to pick on his play, but we appreciate that we get to look at some of his mistakes and then watch him learn from them and get better and help us get better, right? So, thanks, Ziggy. Sorry if you feel like we're picking on you, buddy. But we respect learning. Okay, so unfortunately, photon cannons have really long range. You'll notice that this photon cannon can hit everything right in the front, so really horrible placement. Malachi's bringing in another probe, but too impossible to kill, just not enough. Okay, and I'm actually going to pause right here for 1 second, because now there's a consideration that I'd like to bring up. You guys can maybe think of this yourselves, but when, for example, when you have a cannon here, you know it's going to be able to hit your nexus. You know it's going to be able to take out most of your production facilities. It's already in range. He's got the presence to be able to continue to pound away at you, right? I want to show you this tab. Let's look at the Army tab. Red, Malachi has 0. He has 0 army. So the question I would ask then is, do you think it's worthwhile to cut and run? Like, Ziggy's got over 400 in the bank, and there's no way that he's going to be able to stop this advance. There's just no way. It's too fast. What if he took all his workers and just went and expanded? If he just went and expanded, what's Malachi going to do? He has no army. So, just as a theory, I don't know if it's great for Protoss, but I have seen games where Terran, instead of even responding to this, simply lifted up their command center and went somewhere else. And the great thing about that is that Malachi, or whoever's cannon rushing you, has such a huge investment. Let's just go ahead and hit play. Has such a huge investment here that you know that they cannot actually chase you or punish you for moving. In fact, if we take a look at Malachi's base, we'll see that he doesn't even have anything that can produce an army, right? Now, the question is, how would you know that? Well, let's take a look at the Ziggy cam for a second. Now, if you look at the minimap, you'll notice that, unfortunately, he does not know where his opponent's base is. Well, I should rephrase that. Ziggy, by elimination, because he's explored the bottom left and the bottom right, he knows that his opponent is in the top right. But what Ziggy doesn't know is that his opponent has no army. And Ziggy does, right? So unfortunately, because this is a new thing for him, he's entirely focused on fighting these cannons. And it's just not going to work out, as we can see. So there's something, I think I'm just going to rewind for 1 quick second. There's just one more thing I want to show you guys. Let's just rewind it back to, let's see, where's his scout? There's his scout. Okay, this is what I want to look at. We're going to follow his scout, ready? And I'm going to speed it up. So now his scout has been to the left, now he's gone to the right. Where is his scout going to go? Where do you think his scout's going to go? Well, his scout should go to the top right, right? And let's just pause it right here. Instead, he's going home. I guess he wants to make use of it, you know, for mining or building or whatever. Or maybe he's just calling all the troops home just because of those cannons, right? But what would he see if he had scouted that other base? Well, let's do the everyman can. And let's go take a look. He would have arrived and found 2 cannons, 1 forge, a nexus, no gas, and just workers. So if Ziggy was able to scout this base, I'm just going to hit play here. If he was able to bring that worker in and sneak in and just go once around that base, then he would realize that, you know what, even if he can't take this out, he has a good chance of raising an army and attacking Malachi's base. And perhaps if he's even able to do a good amount of damage, maybe like we mentioned earlier, he could afford to expand and just kind of forget about this base and start off all over again. That's just a theory, but regardless, the scouting would definitely help. So we already saw this. I'm just going to speed it up a little more. Because as I said, the range on these cannons is just too good. It's just all a little too late. And this whole thing's going to go down. Yeah. Terrible. Just terrible. But Ziggy's going to learn a valuable lesson from this, right? So, let's see what happens. And he's going to go attack with all his workers. And that's not going to work. But only now, notice, only now has Malachi even built gateways, right? Takes one more shot at the cannons, and that's about it. Okay, great. So let's just do a quick recap, and then we're going to move on to the next game in the next part of the next video. So first of all, we mentioned that we would have liked to see some kind of building placement at the front ramp. Even if it's just a pylon sitting in the middle, for example here, it would give visibility to this entire area, and just by glancing at the minimap, you'd be able to see if any sneaky probes are trying to get into your base. Okay. Second one is that we also want to make sure that we're making good use of our minimap, that we're constantly looking there, and because that sometimes gives us the fastest information of what's being built, especially if it's in our base. The other question is whether or not it would have been viable to basically build up an army and expand and just sacrifice that initial base. We realize that our opponent has poured in how much money here? 153, 4, 6, 750, 9, $1,200, 1,400 minerals in this alone. So to maybe cut and run and just lose that nexus might not be too bad, right? Might not be too bad. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that I'm just going to rewind it just a little bit. I just want to show you guys this. Let's look at the Army tab. Look at that. At about 30 seconds before the game was over, Ziggy had a combined Army total of 875. And Malachi had nothing. So the other thing we'd like to keep in mind is that with a bit of scouting, especially if we're able to scout our enemy's base, maybe Ziggy's options would have been more open to him, and he would have been able to go and just crush his opponent because he had invested so much in cannons. So we're going to move on to the second part of this video series now, and we're going to see Ziggy start to kick some butt and to really correct his play and defend against these pesky, annoying little cannons here. So stay tuned for part 2, guys, and thanks for watching.